I brought this up in previous videos. As a matter of fact, I brought it up in quite a few previous videos, and we're starting to see it happen. Things that I have been saying are going to happen are beginning to happen. And again, I hate to say that I said it first, but guess what? I said it. I said it first. What does a statement by Ron DeSantis and a recent article by the New York Times have in common? Is it showing a shift in the flow? Is it showing that things may be changing? Well, for the Democrats or the socialists, probably for the worse. But for everybody else in the United States, including conservative Democrats, it's for the best. We begin our story. We begin our story of success with this article. It's out of the New York Times. New York Times said in laments cancel culture when journalists and Democrats are targeted. Yes, that's right. I brought this up before, guys. There is a whole industry right now, and it was created by, of course, who? The Internet, Google. Google and YouTube supporting these channels, putting them at the top of the list. Here, I'll give you a for instance. If you were to look up anything political on Google, okay, without any filters in place, look up anything political, you'll probably get results. But your first 10 results, all of them are going to be socialist-minded channels or social-minded websites. All of them will be pro-social, pro-Bernie Sanders, etc., and they're going to be totally negative as far as the Republicans go or the conservatives go, and they'll point it out. Even things that are irrelevant to the article, they'll point out their reasons for why they think that it's negative. And that's going to be like your first 5 to 10. They promote these websites. YouTube promotes these videos. So what has happened is these websites and channels have developed a huge following, a really huge following. Now, the problem with that is this. When you've already gone after all of your conservatives, and the big T is no longer in office, is he? It really takes a huge target out of place. Well, what are you left with? You've got to continue doing your cancel culture. You've got to continue bringing up all of these injustices. And yet, there's nobody really left to look at. Well, you can actually look at Democrats and start finding a lot, should you want to take a look. And this is what they're starting to do. They're starting to do this. And the New York Times, in this article, is attempting to stop it. What they're talking about in this, and it's really only 2 people that have been fired due to cancel culture, due to, mishaps and things that they've done in the past. Which, in the old days we would have just said, what? You're insane. But now it's a firing offense. You're going to probably lose your job. But the point of the matter is this. They brought up 2. And there was a statement. Let me see if I can find that statement, because I really want you guys to hear this, because it really shows the division that we're currently in right now. And it was, I think it worked, so partisan, Ms. Ball said. All right, they want to bring up this example here, and this is Crystal Ball, okay? In other words, Ball was running as a Democrat for a House seat in Virginia. At the time, a conservative blog got its hands on decade-old photos from a post-college Christmas party. And again, this was a conservative. Conservatives pushing back. Wait till you hear the comment. Okay, we're going to get to that. Anyways, from a college Christmas party where Miss Ball was dressed as Naughty Santa. Cute. I like that idea. Actually, she's somewhat attractive for a Democrat. And her husband at the time, well, we do have to do something about her hair. Her guy's got to take a look at this. All right, look, there's lots we can do. This may be the real reason why she lost. That is, there's a lot that can be done. I'm just bringing this up to help her career, okay? Every time I bring up somebody's hair, they change it, and their career just skyrockets. John Masters, stylist. Anyways, where were we? Anyways, a naughty Santa. And her husband at the time was Rudolph with a red dildo for her nose. Actually, I think that's kind of funny. It would have worked really good for Kamala, too, I think, don't you? Kamala would have just followed him around all day long. Anyways, I didn't say that, YouTube. Dildo for her nose. This sounds ridiculous, but the raunchy party photos fueled news stories across the world. Yes, that's right. That's all they had to talk about was her with her dildo-nosed husband. Anyway, she said in a recent interview that she thought her so-called scandal, which, by the way, really isn't much of a scandal, I mean, would be a temporary blip before society adjusted. Now, I want you guys to listen to this, okay? That people would grow more accepting of photos or problematic comments from the past. Why haven't repeated calls to replace digital shaming with empathy and compassion resonated? Or at the very least, why hasn't a fear of mutually assured destruction set in? Now, that last part of the comment I like, okay? She's correct on that. It is essentially mutually assured destruction. But I want you to understand the beginning of that quote that she did about the empathy. This isn't empathy for conservatives. What she's talking about is empathy and understanding for those within the socialist group. In other words, you need to give us a pass. You need to be understanding and accepting of different views and points. Again, as long as it's within the democratic paradigm or the liberal democratic paradigm. And I really hate to say, just democratic, because there are conservative Democrats out there that do believe in fiscal responsibility that are not for this whole shift, shall we say, in the Democratic Party. And do you want proof of that? And again, I'm going to get into that because this is really, really important, people. I want you to know. Let's continue. I think it's because it worked. Now, this is why. Yes, this is why it continues. And this is why it's going to be going towards those with socialist values or those with the agenda. It's going to turn on them because they're running out of people. And let's be honest, okay? A lot of these guys got some really good stuff. A lot better than a husband running around with a dildo on his nose. Kamala Harris chasing after him. She wasn't at the party. I'm just kidding. I think it's because it works. So partisan operatives and actors are going to continue to use the technique. Again, add to that also, that's their business. These websites and these YouTube channels, these social media outlets, Facebook included. That's their target audience. That's their audience. They go there to find these things out so they can be outraged. If they don't post anything, they lose their, subscribers. Going to continue to use the technique, Ms. Ball said. They ginned up this outrage to get Emily Wilder fired, and then they have the temerity to cry about cancel culture. That is a current phrase used by the political right to describe punishing people for wrongthink. Well, that's all right. Look, let's skip cancel culture. I don't really like that term either. I like that term wrongthink because it fits in. If I'm not thinking right, if I'm not speaking right, then I just don't need to think or speak at all. Think about that. All right. Another thing I want to bring up here, okay, guys. I have been bringing up for months and months and months, okay, a very long time, and I haven't really seen anybody else talk about this, is that not as many Democrats as we're being led to believe. For instance, when you're watching CNN and you're watching, hopefully none of you are, hopefully y'all are watching OANN. But anyways, and those that are watching those channels, what they're hearing is Democrats believe this. Democrats are doing that. Democrats are doing this. That's what they're hearing, okay? Our Democrats believe this. The Democratic Party, they're putting everybody together. And I truly believe that it is a small minority of those within the Democratic Party, a small minority that are with the whole Biden agenda, the Biden program, with the agenda currently being put in place. I really believe it's a very small percentage. But we're led to believe, and the way that it's spoken about, is that everybody, over there's half the country is Democrat. So all of them count in whenever they make a statement. Well, what are you talking about? Half the country wants the socialist agenda. No, that's not quite true. Not all Democrats want that, and I have proof. Ron DeSantis recently had an interview, And as you all know, there's a lot of fear, especially when it comes to Texas and Florida. Those are two key states, big prizes that the Democratic Party would like to infiltrate, that the Democratic would like to see won over, or get some new voting machines put in place, and maybe secretaries of state that are Democrat. Anyways, they'd really like to see that turn blue, and there's a fear that those people that are fleeing California to Texas, and they're fleeing like New York, New Hampshire, to which are extremely, blue states. At least we're led to believe that. That's what we're told all the time, even though they have, well. Anyways, Ron DeSantis brought something up. Those that are migrating, those that are moving to Florida, they're actually not registering as Democrats. They're not. The vast majority, and he didn't give a percentage, but he said the vast majority of them are registering as Republicans. So they're converting. They're saying, okay, I can't get with the how does that saying go? I'm not leaving the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. And that's kind of the attitude that they're having as they're coming into Florida. And conservatives love to make the statement, why do you want to come to our Republican country and then want to enact the exact same laws that you had, that you're having to now flee from, to vote in the same people? Well, this is showing that it's not happening. They're registering as Republicans, which means they're going to be voting Republicans. So we're starting to see an expansion of the Republican base within, especially these two states. So I wanted to bring that up because I'm believing that it's starting. Again, you can't say that it's the beginning of a trend, but I can say I believe that it's the start of the beginning of a trend, which anybody with any common sense, you could take a look at what's been going on and say, you know what, this is going to end up happening. And it's really just a matter of how long before it does happen. Make sure to subscribe, people. Make sure to also check that notification button. Not that it's always going to work. If I were you, every once in a while, look up Master's Report. I could disappear and be someplace else on YouTube. But make sure to check me out.